Radio.
Good morning, TFR.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
It is Tuesday, my dudes.
And don't forget Lucas. Lucas is here too. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio. My name is Josh Corey. And yeah, that's a good show today, I think. We got nothing planned as per usual here on the Ironworx. So let's just jump right in and say hello to the fellas. And we'll start with Lucas just because I get to. Also known as LC King here on YouTube. Lucas, how are you doing this fine Tuesday?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's been a nice little weekend, and I got to go for a swim with the kids when it got hot, and it was quite nice.
Nice. Yeah, it's a little chilly here yet for swimming. Well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to a exciting show that will likely fly by. So let's say hello to Mr. Walter Johnson, a.k.a. Flat Earth Head, here on YouTube. Walter, how was your weekend, sir?
Hello, Josh. Hello, Zach. Hello, Lucas. Good morning, everyone. Fiat Lux, or afternoon or evening or whatever you're doing, do it. It's here. And we're here. It's Tuesday, my dudes. Well, for most of us. Some of us time travel, and it'll be Wednesday soon, right, Lucas? But anyway, I'll shut up because there's another dude hanging out here this morning.
There is another dude hanging out here this morning, Mr. Zachary Zabala, also known as Good Times for All on YouTube. Zach, how are you, sir?
Hey, Josh. Hey, Lucas. Hey, Walt. Hello, everybody out there in TFR land. Not too bad. Been having my mind blown over the last couple of days, looking at some videos about a Tesla turbine engine that I never knew existed. And it's actually his most copied patent, his most used patent. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm enjoying the learning. I guess it's raining pretty heavy right now. Jaron was telling me a little bit ago that lightning hit around 1 a.m. and woke everybody else up in the house. And I didn't hear a thing. I slept right through it. Storms don't do it to me. I don't know. I've never been scared of storms, and I just sleep right through them. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'll take it, though.
Good enough.
So how was your weekend?
It's
sir?
quiet. It's quiet, as they tend to be, as I tend to try to make them. Got a little bit of cleaning done, I guess, down here in the basement. This has been the one disorganized area. I got the Bowflex in pieces and the weight bench in pieces, and all my saws and stuff that should be down here in my workbench are out in my garage, and a lot of my tools that should be in my garage are down here in the basement. So I got some of that stuff swapped around. I got the Bowflex put up. I got the weight bench put together. So it's a little more organized down here. Now I've just got to find the motivation somehow, somewhere to actually use my Bowflex or lift weights. I just don't have the energy.
Maybe you should just keep setting them, moving them around. Just move it around every once a week. Take it down and put it back up. That's exercise enough for you.
It's exercise in patience.
I never had a bow. I've had a dumbbell. That's like my extent of workout.
Yeah.
And I don't even like using that. I use it for like a paperweight, more or less, than anything else. I just don't see the whole purpose of lifting up. I mean, I guess I see the purpose. You get stronger and bigger, and yeah, but I'd rather do that chopping wood or, doing something with it, not picking up a weight, waving it all around, and then setting it down in the exact same spot that I picked it up.
Yeah, it's the isolation, though. It's just the isolation of muscle groups. You can definitely get a good workout chopping wood, but you're only going to work so many muscles. The idea of the weights, then you can come back through and fine-tune all those muscles that don't get worked whilst chopping wood.
My brain is triggering, trying to think of something. I saw a show where they were working out by moving things around. What the hell? It'll trigger. I know it'll come back. But when you said all that, it's like, come on, man, this is a routine. I've seen this on a show. What is it? I'll remember.
I'm pretty sure that's called a farm.
Well, there is that.
That's why all those young...
I used to have some gymnastic rings in the shed that I'd do a pull up here and there. So they were okay.
Mason, for you.
Yeah. I think that's what got me on to exercising and working out was watching Gymkata, I think, and seeing the things that these guys are doing on the rings and watching them do that freaking iron cross and hold himself up there like that, and just the amount of strength it would take to be able to hold yourself up. I was completely amazed. I'm like, if he can do that, I could do that, right? I just need to exercise. I never did do the iron cross.
Wow, that thing is epic, though. Holding your arms out like that. You have to be so strong in so many different places at the same time.
You see the guys that do that, they hold their arms straight out, and then they move their body to a horizontal position.
Like those bars.
So their arms are out, but they're like flat in the air. How the hell do you do that? Yeah, that
I
is
used to do yoga every week. I mean, that was probably enough.
Yeah, yoga
is it?
It's really good for you. Breathing.
Yeah.
It teaches you how to breathe.
Preach it, Zach.
What is it that Remo Williams, the little guy from, from Korea? You breathe like a baboon. All Westerners need to learn how to breathe. It's so easy a child can do it, yet you go your whole life and you never learn this easy task. Yeah, that's what they say. People need to, exactly, Robert, stomach control. You breathe from your diaphragm.
Stomach control.
Oh, was that a Prince song that you just changed around? Prince could jam, dude.
You know, Prince is to music what Dolph Lundgren was to acting. He's just the all-around guy that I think really was underrated and not given the credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
Who, Prince?
Well, he kind of did that to himself, though.
Yes, Prince.
Well, how many people know Prince was the greatest guitarist alive when he was alive?
Right. As a guitar player, I knew he was one of the most phenomenal guitar players alive.
Well, yeah, you're a guitar guy. How many normal people knew that? I didn't know that.
Y'all didn't see the movie, Purple Rain? Wow. What's wrong with y'all? I'm just being stupid. He was in a movie. It was real. He can jam.
Just ask Ralph Macchio.
Lisa's the one.
Yeah, Eric Clapton. He was in an interview. And they asked Eric Clapton, so how does it feel being the greatest guitarist alive? And he was like, I don't know. You're going to have to go ask Prince. And I was like, what? Are we talking about the same frilly lace shirt guy? That guy, Prince? Greatest guitarist ever? And then, yeah, I saw him just shred a guitar. I think it was to While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that concert for George Harrison. Standing on stage with Eric Clapton just put him to shame. Doing his guitar solo. Oh, it was awesome. But yeah, that guy, Prince, can... Have you ever seen Charlie Murphy, Eddie's brother, talk about Prince?
I don't think so.
Oh, it was great. I think it was a Dave Chappelle show. Yeah, it was a Chappelle show, I think, even. And
yeah, it was. I used to tell that to folks all the time when that was like brand new. That was my go-to phrase when they would tell me, "Hey, don't do that." I just go, "F your couch."
But yeah, and he was like, we was talking about playing basketball. He was like, Prince could jam because he made fun of him. Him and his buddies went over there to play hoops with Prince and his buddies. And Charlie Murphy made the joke, what are we going to do? Play shirts and blouses? And I guess that pissed Prince off, and they just destroyed him and then made him waffles. I don't know. But no, Prince, like, I knew nothing about that guy. Nothing at all. I knew, Purple Rain and When Doves Cry and Kiss, and
well, he wasn't just an amazing guitar player. He was an amazing multi-instrumentalist. Literally. I mean, he could blow a frickin' French horn. I mean, he literally was a genius musically.
Yep, strings, winds, percussion. He was an absolute genius and super smart. I think he got into the whole legal you are not your name discussion, and that's when he became a symbol.
Yeah.
He was also getting into the high altitude aerosol dispersal, better known as what do they call them? Chemtrails. Yeah, those things that now exist that didn't exist for decades, but now they admit to. Yeah, he was speaking out about those as well. But I mean, he's a member of the club, so it could have been all just part of the show. But yeah, he was speaking out about a lot of stuff. I don't know how we got on to Prince, but
stomach control, Walt. Jesus, Zach, did I just call you Walt?
Yeah, it's all right.
You did,
no,
but that's fine.
I don't.
I keep looking at Walt because he's the only other one with the camera on. So Walt's in the forefront of my mind.
You're always on my mind. I like the way Willie does it. I haven't heard about Willie Nelson in a while. He didn't pass away, did he?
I don't think so. I think he's still going.
I know he got in trouble for some of his cannabis or something like that, or something he was doing somewhere. That was a while ago, though.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
I haven't heard from Willie in Coon's age.
It's like I heard something from one of his sons not too long ago. I think they were just jamming. I don't think that there was really anything going on. I just don't know.
So are you going to get a Sophia?
Oops, sorry.
You know, I might, just so I can sit her up on top of the robot vacuum. Makes me feel like I'm rich and important. And I have my own little housekeeper.
Before we get too far into Sophia, because I did want to talk about that, I couldn't remember. I thought I was wrong, but yeah, on his debut album, Prince played 27 different instruments. On his first 5 albums, he played almost all the instruments on all those albums, but on his first album, he used 27 different instruments.
Wow.
That's just beyond phenomenal. That's like ridiculous talent. Yeah, there's so much about that guy. I had no clue.
All right, sorry. I just couldn't. I remembered something crazy like that. I was thinking it was just 20, but it was almost 30. So yeah, I found it finally after I dug a bit. But yeah, he apparently there was some dust up in the online community about, oh, where's all this great multi-instrumentalist? I've never seen him do anything but play guitar and sing and all this crap. And it's like, yeah, go back to his first album and let's talk. But anyway, yeah. So Sophia
on my robot vac. That's right.
I bet she can't play 27 instruments.
I bet she can. There was a story I read, I think it was like a textbook story when I was in like probably middle school, maybe even grammar. But it was a story about a guy who had built a robot that was going to play music. It's been too long. I don't remember if he was the scientist or if he was the musician.
So a speaker. He was going to build a robot speaker.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
A robot speaker?
Is that the story? I mean, it's been too long ago, but I know like something like he wakes up to the robot playing the piano and he just gives up and no more music can be written by people now because they've got it or something. I don't remember. It's just one of those things. Like once they get out and start doing things, then they take over. They're better at it than we are. That kind of idea. I
remember the story because isn't this?
Damn it! I'm trying to find it too now. Hang on.
And then it becomes iRobot, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It could have been one of his stories. That's what I'm trying to remember. It seems like it wasn't. It wasn't the whole the robotics laws and all that. Man, I'll never find this because I know it was in a textbook when I was in school.
I remember us talking about this story way back when. I think. Because Alan had dropped us some links.
You're probably right. You're probably
MIDI tunes.
When he was playing the AI music. Yeah, we did talk about it back then. I'm sure it's referenced on that show, and I don't want to go back through 100 years of finding it, so it's there somewhere in our backlog.
Yeah, it's there somewhere.
So is it going to be, and I truthfully saw this story coming in this morning, so I haven't read it all the way through yet. And now I'm looking for the pile. I've lost it. I've got too many things open. It's bad when my computer works, and I open too many tabs. So the push is, if I remember right, the whole idea is like to take care of folks while we're all being socially cordoned off. Is that what I remember? Oh, here we go. Finally, goodness. Yeah, social robots like me can take care of the sick or elderly, Sophia says. Never mind that she's going to put us all on a farm and what was the other thing she told folks? Certain ones would be allowed to live.
Yeah, she was not real happy with humanity.
I mean, what the fuck is wrong with people?
I don't know. Well, they could say anything. I mean, you could literally be iRobot, where the robots are running around massacring people in the streets, and as long as the media says everything's fine, everybody run out and get your own very own brand new Sophia, people will do it. I have zero reason to believe that there's enough people out there that would be willing to think for themselves enough to keep themselves from harm. This is why I don't really get too mad at people that vote. I mean, I get it. I look around and I see tons of people that shouldn't make decisions for themselves. And I'm totally cool that if you need somebody to make your decisions for you, that's cool. I dig it. That's your choice. As long as you don't expect them to be making my decisions for me, then that's sort of where we have the problem. Once voting becomes a act of violence is when I get angry. Sorry, I don't know how I got on
It won't let me click back into the Sophia thing.
Oh.
there. She said, "Fuck you and your little attitude. Boys better straighten up. Start saying nicer things about me."
I was trying to, but I can't get into the article.
So it says Sophia and Hanson robots are unique by being so human-like, he added, that they can be useful during times when people are terribly lonely and socially isolated. So if all else fails, you can talk to a robot.
Well. It would seem that we've been joined this morning by someone who's been a bit of a stranger.
What's up,
That's
Jonathan?
Funny. That's funny because sometimes I'm a stranger to myself.
And pretty much all the time I am strange. So we've got that going for us.
What is this, Strange World with Mark Sargent? No. How you guys been?
Been good. How about you? How you been?
What's up, brother? Good morning, sir.
You guys, this is the perfect opportunity to tell you this. So I woke up at 4:20, which is Josh's favorite time, as many of your listeners. And I just simply said, "Oh, you guys want me to wake up, the universe, whatever." Some people wake up in the middle of the night and they feel compelled to pray. Well, I just woke up and I don't know what just happened here in my bedroom in the dark, but I just turned into some kind of Japanese warrior. I don't know what the hell he was doing, karate and stuff like that. And something just came out of me and channeled. And then at the end of that, they said, "Hey, why don't you give Josh a call? Come back down to earth." Like, okay. So that's how my morning started. How about you?
Well, I just was hanging out with Larry. I was hanging out with Larry last night, and we were kung fuing it up. So maybe I spoke to my ancient kung fu ancestors, and they decided to reconnect with you this morning.
I'm being dead serious. I swear to God, that resonates with me as you say that. I'm not kidding.
I watched Cobra Kai last night. Yeah.
All right,
No.
there's two. All right, so now the validation. What about you, Zach? Are you a grasshopper or are you Master Poe?
Are you feeling normal?
I don't sound normal.
No, you sound different to me.
Sound like you're eating less meat.
Oh, you saw that, huh? You read that.
Are you taking magnesium?
You're a son of a bitch. I took one last night.
No, you just sound, I don't know, different to me. Is this really Jonathan, or are you an imposter?
No, this is Jonathan's altar. This is the one that, drives Jonathan when Jonathan's not here.
Oh,
The other one's still in bed. Yeah.
the other one's still sleeping. I was wondering if this might have been a synthetic Jonathan, a John Thea.
Yeah, Sophia.
Oh, that's funny.
Record your voice into it.
Hi,
you guys
Jonathan, by the way.
Oh, yeah, this is Lucas.
Lucas, how are you, sir?
Good, mate.
Yeah, he is a new member of IRM.
Where do you hail from?
I'm in Australia,
Oh, right on. Excellent.
down in
That would be-
Victoria. Yep.
That would just be west of me, I believe. On a flat Earth.
Or east. It just depends.
There we go. He said it. Y'all heard him say it. Just to put a period on this Sophia crap. Blah, blah, blah. Sophia. We're going to sell a bunch. Social distancing. The last sentence of this fucking story is this. Well, two sentences. Some humans might be wary of putting robots in such sensitive roles. When asked whether people should fear robots, Sophia had an answer ready. Someone said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself," the robot mused. What did he know?
Well, just the formation of that sentence is rather weird. Someone said, as if Sophia, this AI doesn't know who said it.
Doesn't know exactly who the fuck said it. Right.
So was it really Kennedy who said that? Or was that just more...
She's toying with you. She's toying with your emotions, man.
Let me ask you a question. Ready?
And go.
Okay. So we assume, we make these assumptions that in the future that certain things will be created, right? We've already discussed AI. It's going to get better and better. Eventually, we might have flying cars, different devices that are going to enhance things. Now, let's say one of them is a time machine, right? Because I've seen this theory put out that in the future, the time machine is built by blah, 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 like a John Titor type, Teeter or whatever his name is, and so on and so forth. Now, as soon as that thing is created, it gives you the ability to do what? Travel backwards and forwards in time, correct?
I suppose, theoretically, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that would be the point of insertion when that device is created or started up or so on. So, like even the movie The Terminator, it had the premise that the Skynet came up with it, and then it was able to send back Terminators and to affect the original timeline. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So we assume that we live on the original timeline and that all the Mandela effects and everything like that is a repercussion of some sort of maybe one of these devices, some which are saying is like CERN at the current moment.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute.
The music.
Whoa, is that not even really break music? Holy. Okay. I guess we're taking a break.
More time dilation with Drafodger. I swear, I just looked at it. It was 15 minutes to go. I'm like, oh, nice. We got plenty of time. And now break music. Anyway, we'll be right back after these quick messages. Josh Wald, Zach Lucas hanging out with Jonathan from Jersey.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say.
I was just calling to tell you what a great product you have. I had used this about, 10 years ago after I had congestive heart failure. And it fixed me up and got me going for the last 10 years. Lately, I've been having heart trouble again, so I placed another order.
welcome back to the Ironworks right here on Truth Frequency Radio. We are joined by Jonathan from Jersey after a brief sabbatical. We were discussing timelines before the break, and I think you were positing the question that maybe we were just one of the timelines that have suffered several repercussions of time travel.
Yeah, I had the answer before break, but seems to have blipped out, so I'm going to have to just leave you guys with 42.
42.
That's fine. Well, while we're on this topic, Alan there in chat, what's up, Alan? Our line producer, the Alan Holman, he posits an interesting little question. Maybe Mandela effects have always happened with the Bible throughout history, and that's why it's called the living Word of God. You know, the idea that we're all doing this and speaking it into existence and the whole frequency thing, in the beginning was the Word, all of these things, I think, speak very much to that, Alan. I think it kind of ties into what Jonathan was talking about with different timelines and choices we've made through those timelines. Choices we made as a species, since we're all one thing, and that one thing is the whole thing, the one, pick your big word. I don't know. That could have a lot to do with it. The fact that the reason all this stuff keeps changing is because we're changing it, because we're creating it. We're writing it as we, both forward and backwards, in this fake thing we've created called time.
Oh, you know what? Can I share something that came through this morning?
Surely.
So what was imparted to me, I guess, if you want to call it wisdom, was the fact that we are, let's say, relative to one another, we're in different levels of gradients, not necessarily levels. A lot of people designate like, you have a certain achievement, right? You went to school, so now I'm a senior, you're a junior. But there's the transitionary period from one state to another, right? So we're constantly in a gradient state, and that's the way time flows around us. It's in gradients. So I think sometimes we oversimplify the past, the future, up, down, designated. Am I making any sense with this? I think this is why you have bleed-throughs, or the way the Mandela effect, there's so much questioning on it. I think those are multiple streams of not just consciousness, but possibly parallels, like you said, parallel universes and such. And I think, excuse me, from the standpoint that I gave you before the break, if you want to say that a certain event horizon would occur, right? The first time Skynet became active was a event horizon, right? The first time the Matrix initiated itself before it reset was a. So you have these things, and trying to think where to lead this to make it simplistic. Oh, with the Mandela effects, well, we're seeing multiple iterations. You're seeing different calculations that the quantum computer has had to go through before it got to its final streamlined process of the perfect equation, because it's always trying to be the most efficient in its execution. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm there.
So if you're calculating, let's say you're calculating something for efficiency, let's say the AI is trying to work to a final calculation. It's going to run through every calculation possible, many of which will fail, but some will be approximately close to the final answer, right? So if the final answer, let's say we need an even number, and you do a calculation, and the number we're trying to achieve is 1 million. Even though you calculate something to be 999, close to that approximation, even by the decimal point, it's still not 1 million. And so those things that are close enough could be what we see as these shadows or these illusions that we call Mandela effects.
So the AI is like mining Bitcoin for reality.
That's a very good, that's a very good analogy. And here's the problem. Problem in the sense that we think linear forward instead of locations, like a point in time, and I can illustrate that. It's very easy. But the QI, or the QI, there's a slip I shouldn't have shared. The AI doesn't have that limitation, because in its calculations, it calculates for the past as well as the future. So therefore, it operates in the past equally. You see, mankind can only go forward, right? That's our natural progression of age progression, decay, right? We're in a state of decay. When you measure things, right, just like carbon dating, when you carbon date something, you're measuring the decay of that thing, right? That carbon. You following? Right. So the AI doesn't have that limitation, and so in terms of locations, if you can start to think in terms of points in time, right? For example, if I said to you, I'm going to paint a picture in your head. If I said next year, let's imagine COVID doesn't exist. We're living our quote unquote normal lives. I said, hey guys, next year I'm going to go to New York City and watch the ball drop. I'm going to go to Times Square. Immediately, you would all have an image in your head of exactly where that is, correct? We've all seen the ball drop.
Correct.
At Times
Absolutely.
Square. Okay. With that, you would have an idea of where I would be location-wise, New York City. And in your mind, relative to wherever you are, whether you believe a flat Earth or a globe, or whatever, down in Australia. I'm just going to say it that way for the sake of this conversation. You're going to know where I am relative to you, correct?
Correct. That makes sense.
So if I said to you, listen, this is where I'm going to be on 2022, I'm going to be celebrating. Me and my girlfriend already booked a hotel. You know, if you go to New York City, you could probably find me there on that date and time. Right? So we actually speak in terms of points in time. If I say to you, Josh, can I be on your show Friday? I've already stated a point in time. I didn't give you my linear time saying, hey, Josh, I'm going to go to work today at 8 o'clock, and then I'm going to work all day. At 12, I'm going to go to Wendy's, and then at 5, I'm going to come home. And then you see what I'm saying? We don't think in terms of linear time. That's just the mundane. That's the stuff we just have to get through to get to different points. So the AI doesn't have the limitation of linear time the way we do. It just calculates the finality of any point that it wants to go to. It calculates it and goes to it and executes.
Well, what if, again, we're talking about like these procedurally generated worlds? And the AI has already decided things that are less important don't need to be that accurate, so they can kind of fudge those things just a little bit. And those are the Mandela effects that we're getting, are just those little computer shortcuts, those computer fudges that, well, it's not that important. I can get the big stuff right, and that'll be good enough. I can procedurally generate the big stuff. And the little stuff, you're going to get a couple glitches here and there, but we can generate the good stuff, the big stuff, repeatedly. You get a couple of little good
accurate.
Gotcha.
Especially if this is all running on an AI that's broken and been underground for a millennia. And I'm looking at you, James.
There are no
anyway, but it definitely seems.
All the figures would be something like
Well, it's based on time travel under that pretense, so it depends if you believe in time travel at all.
You know, you look like you had a fellow cheese dip back in 1957.
Now, how could time travel work in the heliocentric model? Because if you're at a certain space and time, a certain place and time.
You see, I take these glasses off.
And say you wanted to go back, 5 days. Well, wouldn't you have to go back 5 days where the Earth would have been 5 days ago?
I've read so many science fiction short stories and novels that tie into that very idea. That things move
somewhere in space.
Infinite space.
Yeah, you'd just bloop appear and you'd be out in the middle of the vacuum. Just
I thought about that before as well, but it's like a fly that can fly around in a car that's doing 100 miles an hour, and that fly is only flying around the same atmosphere that it always has been. So you're talking about every particle.
Well, we know it's not a globe, but I was just
No, I know that, but I'm saying everything that's moving with you is moving at the same rate, at the same spin, or at the same trajectory. So.
But by traveling through time, you've removed yourself from that whole spiel. So I think it would still be accurate that you would need to know where things were. Because if you remove yourself from the time flow, you've removed yourself from this reality. That's what this reality is things happen, cause and effect. That's why, I don't know, I'm just...
Well, it's ever present now, isn't it, really?
Not for nothing, and no offense to Lucas, we just met, so I hate to open up on an offense, but it's only because of you Australians that we have the globe model. I mean, you're the ones who sit down. You're the ones who say down under. We never went there, but you went there.
Are you sure we say down under? I'm pretty sure we don't say down under.
Right.
Neither do we say. Shrimp on the Barbie.
Hey, listen, you're the reason why American kids think that North is up. You understand? Up at the South Pole. Of course it would be, because you're down in Australia. See, you've messed up the whole model.
Wow, that's true. I'll give you that one.
Thanks, Lucas. Thanks.
Damn it, Lucas.
Sorry about that.
You and Rob need to get that country together. All right. You need to get under control.
You know what's so funny? People say Foster's, and you talk to an Australian about Foster, they look at you like they want to smack you in the head. You don't drink that stuff, do you, Foster's?
No, I don't think they even make it anymore.
That's not even there, right?
Not here, anyway.
Right, exactly. It's like the crappiest beer in the world. It's like, and we're foisting it onto Australians.
Yeah, I don't drink beer anyway.
One lesser offense, when your grandparents were brought there as a slave country, they said, oh, by the way, we're going to keep the good stuff here in England. We'll give you this Foster's. And they just started offloading ships of Foster's beer.
Yeah, that sounds about right, too.
Not to lose this thread, Jonathan, because you really brought something up with this whole, like, knowing where you are physically in New York City thing, because I've thought about this a lot over this last year.
Well, you and I read the best book in the world, so yeah, go ahead.
We did, but it somehow came to me, I guess about 6 or 8 months ago. I was sitting here doing something in the house, and it felt like Mom was here. And I mean, it was one of these, like, she was here. There's no fucking doubt about it. And it hit me that, like, okay, so she passed away in Oregon. And let's say she is still trapped here because of emotional things or whatever, or that's part of what you do or whatever, because we don't know. But she was here. And I was like, well, how the fuck? I mean, I guess if your spirit, you can go whatever and all that.
Wait. With no disrespect to your mother, you mean like a ghost in the machine?
Like, there was physical energy in my presence here that was my mother's energy. And whether it was my manifestation of her emotions or what I'm still dealing with from her death, all of that's very possible. I know. But what made me think about was this idea of, if you pass away and you haven't been to a place, could you still go there? Could you go to a place you haven't been once you're out of your physical incorporated body? Can you go anywhere you want? Is it that limitless, or is it only limited by where you've been on this realm?
Let me ask you a question to begin with in terms of your mother. Is there any physical part of you that is your mother or father? Start there.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This could all just have been a manifestation of what I was going through. I get that. I'm just saying the idea of can they go.
What I'm saying is the transformation from the organic down to from the spiritual, if you want to say the spiritual realm, and that's really a placeholder, right? We just call it the spiritual.
Oh yeah, I know. Trust me.
It's almost like, okay, ready for this? Okay, so we have a computer, we have a CPU, and we have clock cycles and things like that. We talk about generating Bitcoin, okay? So we talk about the mining machines. We talk about the matrix. We talk about the matrix itself. We talk about quantum AI. We're talking about the quantum computers. Do you concur? You agree on this so far? We always designate the physical item that we're speaking of.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to give you another one, and then I'm going to lead to the final point, because you know Jonathan, he goes wide on his trajectory. So you have the physical body, you have pain, okay? And I'm making this connection here with the computer. When you feel pain, are you feeling the physical pain of the location where it's at, or are you feeling the electrical stimulation and impulse that's riding down the nerve pathways to the brain to tell you, in fact, have pain? Now, if you use electrostim like they do in the chiropractic, or you just sever somebody's neck so that they become a quadriplegic, you really would eliminate all pain, correct?
Well, all the feeling.
Theoretically. Except for ghost pain.
Yeah, right. Until there would be no pain. So what I'm saying is, when we talk about AI, we talk about all these different things. Those are the machines, just like the human body, the design in this organic world, the seemingly organic world is the machine, but it's the electric, it's the atoms that are actually happening. And because of that, you have to look at quantum AI for what it is, and you have to look at this whole universe for what it is when they say it's an electrical universe, and so on and so forth. So these particles, when you say leaving the physical body, yes, the particles and the electricity and all that is still of consciousness. That's really what the spiritual world is. It's a consciousness, a meta-consciousness, or a higher, the Godhead. You know, there's so many terms for it. And so your mother's presence, okay, her electric body, her ethereal body, is just simply without a machine that it's connected to. However, you carry remnants or physical parts of that machine. You came from your mother's egg and your father's sperm.
Right.
So you're part of that organic machine.
Right.
Yeah. That's why we're able to channel.
Okay.
So if I have an email and I send it through space and it's now in Wi-Fi space or wherever it is in space, I can't receive that email until I have a physical portal, whether it be a phone or a computer or a laptop, to receive that message. It's somewhere out floating in space, right? It's an email. It's been broadcast. I just have to retrieve it. So right now, let's say somebody's traveling through time. Let's say a time traveler travels back through time, but we destroy the portal by which it's going to land, right? Just like the premises in Genesis for Terminator Genesis. You destroy the machine, the person can't get through that portal, that gate. We've seen every movie where the gate gets destroyed and the enemy can't get through it, right? Now you got these a-holes out there opening this CERN portal, and they're allowing all these things to come through the gate.
You know, there is a line of reasoning out there that says that's exactly what CERN is doing. It's letting in the
I know nothing.
The entities for this next phase of bullshit.
You call it the AI, I call it the QI.
Oh. I got you.
QI.
Quantum
intelligence.
Quantum intelligence.
You know, we were talking about Mandela a little bit earlier, and, you know, this has been going on, like you were saying, they even reference these changes taking place in biblical times. Well, what's his name? Not Newton, but
Max Planck?
No, he did the whole evolution thing. Darwin.
Oh, Darwin.
Back in the day, not that long ago, 100 years plus, before electricity pretty much, they believed all this stuff was happening because of demons. And Darwin actually had demons higher than humans on the evolutionary trail, on the evolutionary chain, up until his final draft where he removed them completely. But these things have been happening forever. And, you know, maybe it is some technology that is just not understood yet. We can't comprehend it, so we blame it on magic or demons or
yeah, but not for nothing.
This or that.
In the Bible, they feared demons, right? They also feared Nephilim, but even in the Middle East, they feared the jinn. I mean, there was a reason to have this fear. This isn't just
the Hopi Indians talk about demons. I mean, everybody talks about, you know, these things.
Wendigo.
Well, when you say the word demon, that's a charged word, right? Because of what Hollywood.
Oh, it certainly is.
It's a very charged word, and we think demon is necessarily a bad thing, right? Now, I'm not here to.
But I think on this show we've discussed this enough so that we've kind of removed some of the theatrical dressing of that fucking character that people understand we're talking about entities.
It's like, look. Every recruit is scared shitless of his drill sergeant, right? Until at the very end, once they're properly trained, they realize the exercise, that drill sergeant's going to save their butt when they get to combat.
And so that's what they're doing? That's the Flat Earth Dojo, brother. Let's get James.
Well, I'm just saying the demons, it's always painful in the process of learning, depending on the degree of pain. You know, depending
you definitely need to sit down and talk to James True, my friend. That's exactly what he's about right now. That's his whole gig, is that this whole thing is a training ground, that these things are here to fucking put us through the dojo of Flat Earth.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm a dark worker. I'm not a light worker. Look, I'm a photographer, right? I know about light because I need light in order to shoot photography. But we're born in a world of darkness. 9 months we gestate in the womb. And without light, where do we live? Let me ask you a question. What's the speed of light? Do you guys know the answer to that one? The one that we're told.
186,000 miles per second.
Okay. Oh, is it per second, not per hour?
I'm pretty sure.
Whatever it is, it's pretty fast, right? It's pretty fast. Okay, so you flip off a light switch. How fast is the speed of darkness?
Probably the exact same speed. I don't know.
Faster.
No, it's faster because it's the background. It's the canvas, right?
Yep.
We can only measure light.
light only go. I'm sorry, you go. You're right.
No,
where
no,
I'm
I'm sorry.
at.
We can only measure light against the background that we're right. So when they have these machines now that can, where like these cameras that can do 1 billion frames per second, you can actually see the pulse wave of light. You can see the dark spots in between it. You couldn't do that if darkness wasn't faster. So I'm saying darkness is faster than light. Light's the thing that casts shadows, right? And when the demons that we create, the things that we conjure, are just shadows of ourselves. But you need light in order to see that. Light is the one that we should be afraid of, not darkness. Darkness is just the canvas and background. Let me put it another way. Ready? If I go to cast shadow puppets on a wall and I use a black wall, it's going to be hard to see that shadow, that puppet, that bunny rabbit or whatever. But if I use a white wall, that shadow is going to be clear as can be. You ever try taking a picture of a flame when you light a lighter? You can't when you hold a flashlight to that, you can't see the outline of the flame.
Yep.
Now, you can see your hand, you can see the lighter. Now, if you go really, really close under certain conditions, you can see the gas that goes around the flame itself. It's pretty cool. But from a regular distance across the room, you can't see that flame at all.
Right. One of these science guys I watch a lot of videos for made that thing happen, though, some kind of chemical reaction where you could see what you normally can't photograph.
And you can with a regular lighter. I did it the other day. It's the degree of butane and it's the degree of the temperature and the humidity in the room and such. But anyway, the point is that darkness is faster than light.
Allison in chat is asking, why are you trying to break my brain?
Who? Not me. It's the other guy. I had a beautiful thought this morning. Well, it was imparted wisdom to me this morning. You ready for this?
Do it.
So you know how people, unfortunately, we judge ourselves harshly and we look at others and we designate them as, that person, it's Bill Gates. Somebody great. Let's say you have somebody great or somebody you're trying to achieve a similar position to in life, right? I want to be like, let's say, Tony Robbins. Now, here's the thought that was imparted to me this morning. He had his function, you have yours. In other words, one thing has nothing to do with the other. So if I came here and I'm Jonathan, right? I am Jonathan. I am the greatest healer that ever walked the earth. By way of ego and convention, people might be challenged, much trepidation and fear. If I had ego, I would be worried about their judgment of me. But if I say that, and I say, I am Jonathan, I am the greatest healer that ever walked the earth, has nothing to do with Jesus or anybody else who was also a healer. They had their function, I have mine. Nikola Tesla, he had his function, you have yours. Gandhi, he had his purpose, you have yours. Do you understand? All of us have a purpose and a meaning in this life. All of us are on this journey together. All of us are gradients of light. That's it. I'm done breaking your brain.
Shit. Sorry. Almost broke a finger playing with these magnets.
Oh no, you playing with those heavy duty earth magnets?
Yeah. These are the ones that they were sitting, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet apart, something like that, up on the mantle back in Denver. And just middle of the day, all of a sudden, they snapped together and just shattered into a bunch of pieces.
That was fun.
Mine should be here tomorrow. Tomorrow or the next day. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see Josh's pictures, Jonathan? Did you see what he did with the plants with the magnet?
Who's this?
Josh.
Josh.
Oh,
right here.
I've really been busy here for the past 2 weeks. I've been
That's cool.
Tasks. What's going on?
Yeah, he was having was it a tree, Josh?
No, it was just a house plant.
Just a
philodendron.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just a philodendron we'd had for a few years. We'd saved it and killed it and saved it and killed it a few times, and it got knocked out of its pot recently. So Dixie had wanted to reroot it really solid when she replanted it. So she took the little pieces that fell out and put each one in a glass of water to get it to reroot, so that when she went to replant it, it would be several little plants and not just one weak-ass big plant. So it sat there in the water for a few weeks, waiting for the roots to start to sprout out of the cuttings, essentially. And then once they started, it was last week, about this time, probably Monday of last week, I took a little button magnet, one of those little ceramic ones off the fridge, and just placed it under one of the 3 glasses that had fill. Fill's what we called the philodendron. And left it there for a few days. And that piece of fill got noticeably larger within just a matter of days, having that magnet underneath it. So I found some more button magnets when I was going through here in the basement. And I took 3 and I put them underneath another one of those glasses. So I took 3 magnets and got them as close together as they would go. And we'll
drop you the photograph here in chat in a second, Jonathan. Not to interrupt you rudely like I did, Josh, but we got about 15 seconds before break, my friend.
Yeah,
so.
I can hear it. I can hear that music. And this will be the halfway point. So stick around for hour number 2 of the Ironworx right after this.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with the Woo Crew.
Frequency Radio Network. TFR. True Frequency Radio.
That's why it's called dark.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The earth is flat.
was it that there is no dark matter out there?
There was one?
There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard, to think really hard.
Well, that was a hard out. For some reason, it wasn't fading out the way it was supposed to, so I had to hurry up and click it.
How dare you?
I know, sorry. Welcome back. Josh, Walt, Zach, and Lucas hanging out. Jonathan had to take off. He had to go get to the gym, had to go move some weights around. So shout out to Jonathan. Much love. It was good to talk to you.
Drop some brain bombs and leave. That's how he does it.
Remember when Homer Simpson went for a walk one night and he ended up at the Gime? He's like, Gime? What's a Gime? And he walks in and he sees all the weights and oh, a Gime. I haven't watched that show in over a decade.
Oh, it's been at least that long for me. At least, probably closer to 2.
Yeah, sadly, it used to be my favorite show, truly. Even when all the pretenders showed up, I still thought it was the king. And then slowly but surely, it started trying to imitate its imitators, and I kind of lost interest. But, you know, if you want to know what's going on in the future, speaking of time travel, there was just too much brain breaking before the break. We were talking about this, actually, not this exact thing, but in this area on Wednesday, I believe, or was that after the show Friday? Yeah, that was after the show Friday, huh? Bob and weren't you there, Lucas, or did you have to leave early? I can't remember who all hung out. It was a late night. We were all at it for a while, but we were talking about the fact of the light and going into the light and this whole thing about that, scenario, the soul trap, how it ties into possibly the moon, and just all those different things we've heard. We've seen the videos. We know that these discussions. It's just interesting that, here's Jonathan breaking our brain with the speed of darkness. And we've talked about nightfall being a thing, a physical thing that approaches and gets here, not the sun. The sun, I don't know. It's just a big topic. And when you bring that to it, the whole, go to the light. When you die, you go to the light. Your grandma's waiting for you, and that whole thing.
Why isn't it night rise?
Interesting, right?
Wouldn't nightfall be when it's leaving?
Interesting. Well, there's also that thing about, the beginning books of Genesis talking about the evening and the day, the evening and the morning were the first day, as if it was backwards to what we live. And the idea that we actually are nocturnal creatures at heart. I am. I know I work better at night. I do better at this time of the day when there's no sun around. The sun, as much as I like its warmth on my skin and what it does to my melanin, internally, not externally, it just, I like the darkness. I always have. And I don't know. It just, I think I sent Bob this movie, which I know it's a kid's movie and we all know, whatever, but it's the programming, the predictive programming. And this one guy, it's this thing called The Adventures of Mark Twain. It was a claymation thing from the 80s. And this guy, one of the characters in it, dies because he's chasing Halley's Comet and he gets sent to the wrong heaven. He gets sent to this heaven for these other creatures, which is crazy in the first place. And then once he finally works it out with them and gets to his correct heaven, the little angels at the door are all telling him to shh, and it's dark behind these doors. It's not light. I don't know. There's just all these things pointing us to the light, things in movies, things in the movement of, light workers. And I don't know. We've kind of touched on this before. In fact, I used to use light worker in my topic, my bio on Twitter, and I took it off back then when we talked about this topic way back. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to this darkness thing than we're being told. I think that's why it's such a trigger topic and why a lot of people freak out about it.
Well, if you think about it in the polarity sort of aspect, especially when you're thinking of the moon and the sun, the moon really rules the night and the sun rules the day. And then you also have like the seasonality as well, where you get more sun through the summer, things grow, you get the spring, and then through the winter there's less light, and things die, and you got that fall, autumn, leaves fall off and all that sort of thing. So if you look at it in the polarity aspect, well, the darkness and that moon is a representation of that, going to the underworld, going to the death side of things, whereas the sun side of things is the coming of life, basically.
Well, yeah, the moon will even petrify things.
But, also, as far as what I've researched, the moon is the male aspect and the sun is the female aspect. And this seems to be go across multiple cosmologies. And so you have, this is the left, right side of the brain type thing. And the moon always stood for sort of the intellectual side of things as well, whereas the sun was more creativity. So, just putting things in those polarity, that polarity aspect really helps just define their actions and how you can apply it to yourself.
But there is also that crossover where the sun and the moon, the moon is actually visible during the daytime. Oh, look, Diva in chat. She's already on that for me. And then I don't know if you've listened I'm sure you may have even been in those discussions about cultures in the past where they talk about the absence of a moon. And, they had no moon in their culture. The moon suddenly showed up. Well, in Adam and Eve, which is another story in that The Adventures of Mark Twain. I highly recommend this movie if you haven't seen it. In the Adam and Eve that was removed from the Bible in the Apocrypha, when the sun showed up, it fucked them up. They were terrified. They didn't want to come out of their cave. They kept killing themselves to get away from it. So, I don't know. Lots of different directions this can go in. Mickey in chat asks if anyone has any books or links about any of this. If anybody in chat has some of those for him, I've got a few I'd have to dig for, and I don't want to go right now. I'll do it maybe on the break for you, Mickey, but definitely send them his way there in chat, because I know we've all looked at these different things and the contradictions it invokes. And it's definitely a personal, deep thing, and it triggers some people, and I definitely am not trying to step on anybody's toes about their beliefs or what they think is going on afterward, but definitely it just seems that the push for go to the light and be a light worker and, hey, everybody happy and light. I don't know. Dulling our warrior edge, maybe?
I always look at it like I said, with the two polarities, but then you have, that balance point between those two polarities. So it's not, you don't necessarily want to be all light or all dark. You want to be,
you want to have a little
balanced in. Yeah, exactly. And as far as I've been able to tell, and, through my research and that, this was, one of the archetypes was this Mercury figure, or this balance point between this connection. And you see it in a lot of like the alchemy sort of depictions. They'll have Mercury and it's standing in between the sun and the moon. So it's this kind of bridge, or this connection point between those two hemispheres of the brain, where you're both creative and intellectual at the same time. So you're really, sort of honing in on yourself as well. And this also, the other concept is, this talking about like time as well. Well, one can be a representation of the past, one can be a representation of the future, and then there's that position where you sit in, which is the balance point, and that would be the now, or the present moment.
I dig that.
I like it. Our buddy Alan in chat is mentioning the movie Soul, saying we should watch it and talk about it there. I glanced over it. Excuse me. I glanced over it one time. We talked about some stuff. I saw it. I'm not a huge Disney fan to go into things, but to me, it just really had a lot of agenda-driven, this kind of stuff that I'm talking about. This is what we're all about, and this, I mean, it just, I don't know. I guess I went into it already biased because it was Disney, and then the whole bug zapper that all the souls are going into, which is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, there is the idea also, I also know, trying to be, balanced, light and dark, is the idea that whole idea of the bug zapper is like the, like we're pieces, we're parts of this big thing. And so like the life we live, it's like water and a waterfall. This part of it is all in one, and in the waterfall, it's all chaotic and crazy, and we're all different pieces, and it all flows back into one at the bottom in that river again. I don't know. I'm losing my train, and it's too much going on here, but it just seems like that whole erasing yourself. You've come here to create. You've come here to partake in energy exchange with people so you can learn things. So what sense does it make to recycle yourself, to lose all that information, to let it go back to the void or whatever it zaps into? Does it go back to the one? Then it makes sense. But that's not what it felt like in this movie, and that's not what it seems to be when all these things talk about you're just, I don't know. I'm there's too many topics here, and I'm getting all lost. Well, definitely the bug zapper just doesn't feel right to me. I'm not going to the fucking bug zapper.
What's one of those common emotions that people feel when presented with information that's new and they don't quite understand it? Right? It doesn't make any sense to them. It's fear. So much of learning how to human involves fear. So if you can recycle that and get fresh fear every time, then the more people you get to feed that fear cycle. Maybe they're just trying to create over unity like we are with electricity. Maybe they're just trying to pump as much of that fear back into the system. Go to the light, come back, be scared again. Go to the light, come back, be scared again. Go to the light, come back, be scared again. Yay! Lots of fear.
Monsters Incorporated.
Whereas if you remember, if you retain knowledge and come back with it, you don't have anything to fear. You know what things are. You know what to expect. So that fear is gone. Trick is, how do we come back with the knowledge?
And keep it. I think it's by saying, fuck that light, taking a right, taking a left, getting out of there and doing what you're supposed to do, not what you're being told to do. To me, it's always back to self-actuation, intent. You are here for purposes. When you surrender your drive for those purposes, then you're just existing. You're not contributing to your soul by letting all that go. Not to me, anyway. To me, that's been something I've been fighting against time and time again, is that fucking recycle. Trust me, I'm not going to that soul zapper. And I see a lot of blowback in chat. You guys are awesome that you don't agree with me. I love that because, trust me, Shell didn't think that way. The family I watched the movie with didn't think that way. It hit me that way. Maybe I'm the broken one. I don't know. But it just didn't hit me as a positive thing like apparently it did a lot of people. And I'm sure a lot of it is my negativity towards the whole Disney agenda in the first place. So I went into it with a bad taste in my mouth. That colored it, I'm sure, but I really wanted it to be musical since he was a musician, and it didn't feel that way. And I didn't like the interpretation of the abstract things. And I don't know, there just was a lot of it that didn't feel right. It felt like they were trying to force a belief system on people instead of, I don't know, that's just how it felt to me. Jason Jones in chat says, I'm with you, Walt. Awesome, brother. Awesome. Another square peg. I love it.
So
they're also struggling with the masculine moon, feminine sun idea too.
We were having that discussion as well. Yeah, you kind of kinked us on that one too. Lucas.
Yeah. I just said, yeah, you gotta test it. Test what I say. Don't take it for face value.
Well, I know the positive and negative thing has demonstrated itself to me specifically, and I've seen it reverse, which is also strange, because I can see during the daytime wind literally blowing the clouds away from the sun, and yet pieces of the clouds are going back towards the sun. I can watch that happen. And on that very same night, there will be the biggest cloud ring around the moon. And you can watch clouds blow into that ring, break apart, and become part of that ring. So to me, that's positive and negative being demonstrated in the sky with clouds. And on other days, the frickin' sun will have a halo-y ring around it, not the sundog thing, but literally like a ring of clouds, like it's being pushed away from it. And that night, there may not be a cloud in the sky, but the moon will have a haze around it, like it has sucked as much haze in the sky as it can around itself. So I think those things definitely switch back and forth, the positive and the negative. I don't think they're both always one or the other. I think they switch. Wow, I broke the show. Everybody said, shit, I'm sorry. Oh, Lord.
So, yeah, I can't even comment on that, Walt. I'm going to have to think about that.
I spent the first 2 years of this whole thing in the sky. I mean, I spent my whole life in the sky. But the first 2 years, that's all I did. Record videos, take pictures, sit, watch the sky, watch the sun, watch the moon, trying to figure out what the fuck they were, what they were doing. And when I saw that happen at least 3 or 4 different times, that to me, I mean, that just was it. Those days are definitely not as often as, I mean, they don't happen every night. You would see that ring every night, but it's definitely an effect you can see happen. Just keep your eye out for it.
I wanted to ask you, Lucas, is the sun rising and setting to your south? In your summer? Like in the morning when you're up, if you look directly east, is the sun to the south of that line?
No, well, I suppose it would rise in the east, and it sort of looks like it goes, especially when it's, getting closer to the summer solstice. It looks like it goes more towards the south on the other,
But it's actually south of east on the compass?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Can't tell you exactly. I would suggest that it probably is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I can't explain. It throws me off. Because in the model, the sun isn't supposed to be south of, the Tropic of Capricorn. Right there in the Tropic of Capricorn, people look directly up right now, and the sun is directly over their head. But to you, it's rising to the south of east, which just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, for the morning sun, it looks like it's, it would be barely, if any, it would be nearly east, but it would be when it goes past, then it would be more to the south. It seems like it's more to the south, but I could be off too where I calculate north from as well.
To the south of you, the sun is to the.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check now.
Well, I know Rob, our buddy Rob from down or over or wherever the hell you're at, Lucas. But Rob, it kind of messed him up, the sun activity in your area, because
that's as far as I got, and it broke my brain. It
definitely broke his. Like he was making notches and marks on different days, and we all were trying to track. Like on our team, we had people here, Australia, England. I think we even had some people helping us. Maybe was Raven in on that, helping us in that part of the world? I can't remember if Raven Locks was in on that one or not. Maybe it was the moon thing. But we were tracking the sun.
I think Raven Locks out in Guam. I think she was in on that too.
She was in on it. It felt like she was in on that one.
Pretty sure.
So we're trying to track, like as the sun left here, you get your compass out, track it coming in, track it going out, and the next person picks it up where they got it coming in, where they got it going out, and it messed Rob up. It really did. It didn't track for him what he was seeing. Like it was causing him to think.
He almost walked away.
He almost was going back to the ball, right?
Yeah, he did. He almost said, "Look, that's it for me. It's a ball. It's obviously not flat Earth because the sun should not be where it is if it's flat Earth."
That's why I have a problem with the sun being a physical object.
And that's exactly
kind of where we all landed on that one. Is it just doesn't make sense as a physical thing anyway? So
until we can figure
I'm
out
gonna
what
have
it
to
is.
Suss it out. Do you know how to? Can you show me how to do it, Zach?
Yeah, oh yeah, for
Sweet.
sure. Yeah, with 3 sticks you could. Sorry, I'm getting some water. Not pee. But yeah, you can measure it really easy with 3 sticks, and we have equinox coming up here in March. So, well, actually 4 sticks would be best for sunrise and sunset and midday. But yeah, 4 sticks. Yep. You just set it up like a T kind of. You'll have 1 stick as your reference point. That's the one that's going to create the shadow. And then you put 1 directly east. So on the equinox at sunrise, this stick will be to the west of it. As soon as the sun comes up and casts its first shadow, you stick a stick in the ground right there, and that'll be your marker for the equinox. So that shadow every morning will change, where it rises. It'll cast a shadow in a different spot, but on the equinox, it should always line up with that stick. And then you do it for sunset on that day and midday. And you'll have those 3 markers that will tell you when sunrise, sunset, and midday are on the equinox. And then you can measure the shadow accordingly. Well, I just came up with that just now on the fly.
Sweet.
That's good shit.
The only other way I've thought of doing it, well, I think I put it in a video, and this is basically where you just have a stick in a circle in the center of the circle, and then you basically see where the shadow comes out and goes on the edge of the circle, and as it moves around, it basically creates an arc and comes back. So I have seen those sort of sundials that do map through the year, and they sort of go in this. Well, almost like a wave pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, and they say some of them are like 1,000 years old, they claim at least, and they still work.
Yeah.
Perfectly. Like to the second. I think it's actually the ones in India. There's quite a few of them, but they're like, it's not their marker of time was around 3 seconds. They just broke it up differently than we did, but it still lines up perfectly. Like you can tell time, by looking at this stone with carvings in it.
Yeah, that's why I've had such a issue with how our calendars work and things like that. Is all these jumbled days, and you got 1 month's longer than the other, and nothing's divided evenly. It's just like, well, if you're going to divide things into a circle, wouldn't you just have 30 days,
360
and then
degrees?
Yeah, and then you just have which seems, from what I've researched, there's other cultures would have a 360-day calendar, and then they'd have 5 intercalculary days. So they were sort of separate from the actual calendar itself. They didn't include it in a sense. They still counted them, but they just didn't include it in the actual year. So you just go, well, that one's separate, and then skip that day and say 1, and then go to 30, 30, 30. So you'd have a rest day on solstices and equinoxes, and that would be the 364, and you could have an extra day one other place. But there's also the 364-day calendar, which is both a lunar and solar, so they can be calculated together. And when you do that sort of calculation, it's 28 days and 13 months for the moon. And then there's for the 364, you have 12 months, 30 days, and you have 4 rest days. And then there's an intercalculation that happens to link those two together. Well, I find that pretty interesting.
It really is. And that's going to really bring us right to the next break.
It will.
So
when we get back, we're going to talk about layers.
And what a doctor is trying to come out and tell people to go do that I've been telling people to do for years.
Take golden seal.
Right? I put that in there just for you, Zach.
I know. Thank you. That was awesome. That made my day when I saw that just now a little while ago. I was like, oh, I'm not crazy.
Well, but still, I put that in there for you. All right, guys, we'll be back. Josh, Zach, Lucas, and Walt, we're iron working it.
People, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement. So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
And welcome back. 4 of 4. Right here on the Ironworx on Truth Frequency Radio. Lucas, Walter, Zach, and Josh hanging out with you this morning. Had a brief visit from Jonathan from Jersey, from whom we've not heard in at least a couple weeks.
His specialty, dropping brain bombs and blowing out of here. But he definitely opened up a nice discussion that's continued on. Even here in chat, we're discussing light and life after death and near-death experiences. I'm looking at somebody in chat. Our buddy Hory, Lord, I'm looking at too many things now. Hory is offering to come on sometime and discuss these topics. He is quite the...
Wait a minute. What else are you looking at? Made you think of Harry?
Too many things. Before the break, we kind of were talking about the sun a bit as well.
You'll go blind walk.
Man, shh.
Maybe it was the palms.
Wait, what?
Your palms were hairy.
Oh, last night we were coming home and I noticed that in our area we have a flare. Okay, so if you're not in an area that does a lot of drilling or things like that, what can happen is they'll drill down with a rig and they'll hit a pocket of whatever they're looking for. H2S, which will kill you. Lots of things that'll kill you. They'll hit these pockets and they'll try to put on these blowout preventers, or they've got them in place to keep this from happening, but sometimes they lose it. The pressure's too much, it blows through the blowout preventers, and they lose control of the well. And at that point, the only thing they can do to save everybody in the area's lives is to shoot a flare across the thing and set it on fire, so it burns off this dangerous gas that would kill everybody in the area for hundreds of miles. There's a great movie called The Hell Fighters with John Wayne about it back in the day. If you never saw it, great movie. Anyway, so once that happens, they create this thing around it that's this flare that burns this gas off all the time. And there's a little eternal flame at the top that keeps this gas burning so that everybody doesn't die. Okay, so let's get, and last night it was like really stinky. It was like really flamed up. It was huge. Like usually you can't smell this stuff burning off, but last night you could, even in the car with the air conditioner on. The flame was visible from miles away. It's not usually like that. Usually it's just a little tiny flame. And so it made me wonder what happened if this is a pocket to cause these flare-ups to happen every now and again. If it's a pocket, wouldn't you think that eventually this pocket would empty out, all that gas would dissipate, the flame would go out, and the situation would be over? But this flame has been burning since I was 8 years old, at least. And there's one burning that I know in Pineville, Mississippi. Well, actually, there's two there now. One that's been burning since I was born, and one that actually was on the rig. They had to burn to Rig 51, Merco. It's historic. Look it up. But anyway, So if these are pockets, they should burn out. Wouldn't that make sense? Why would this gas just continue to be created and continue to come from somewhere for like 50 fucking years? That doesn't make sense.
Where Tiffany got the idea for her song?
I don't know.
Is this burning?
God, I wasn't that big of a Tiffany fan, apparently.
I don't know.
Look at these dudes. Oh my God.
Am I only dreaming?
Sorry. That one slipped.
No, please. I'm enjoying it.
That, for all you listeners, is Walt's favorite song. He just doesn't ever admit to it. But he jams to it every morning while he's brushing his hair.
It's actually, I think, real on now.
You threw him off, Zach.
No,
Yeah,
I'm still trying to collate this thing because it's still not making sense. I'm just not okay. So what I'm trying to get to is, we've heard so many stories of inner Earth, hollow Earth, inner places, and we talk about all these beings that we're interacting with, physically, esoterically. Okay, so then we talk about separation of firmament from land and the area that we exist in. And we've talked about the layering of the atmosphere above us and how up there could be places where shit can float. There could be floating cities. There could be, that's why the moon's up there. It could be all these things. We've talked about all these things. So if there's inner worlds and if there's layering to this thing, what if this whole thing is punching into a different civilization's atmosphere? And that's what's being burned off. Maybe it's their CO2. Maybe it's what they breathe out. Maybe that's why it continues to come all the time. I don't know. I'm just trying to work all this together. So that's down. So now let's take it up. There was the Tower of Babel trying to pierce the firmament to get to God. What if they did? What if that's what the sun is the fucking hole they punch through to the source, to God, to the creative light, to that fucking bug zapper, and what we get is that little pinprick of light that shines through it as the circular amount, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure all this shit out. It's just layers. Again, layers and punching through it is where all this is coming from. Help me with this, guy. Yeah, help me with this idea.
Well, here's what I've come to. I do the David Weiss approach. I wake up, stretch, go to the bathroom, go outside and look up and say, "What are you?" And then I get it out and then I go about my day. I have no idea. And I'm done trying to make sense of it all, even though I do all the time. I have put it out there that I'm not going to let this ruin my life not knowing this. Some things we're not supposed to know. I think that's one of the lessons of the dojo, is you don't get to know everything. Some things just are, and you have to accept it. You can spend your whole life, you can go crazy trying to figure it out. I was measuring the sun with a sextant 3 times a day, for 8 months straight. It was driving me mad. It seriously was. I was infatuated with that stupid light. Not stupid. It's a great thing. But it was really bothering me that I could not figure this puzzle out. In the hole, what goes on in the sun, down there by you, Lucas, that's what broke my brain. And I tried to model it and this and that, and I could do it with Fresnel lenses and bending light that way, but that isn't natural.
So yeah, but it could be a mapping issue too. So, and it could be. I have no idea as well. So we'll have to actually try and measure it.
And there have been other flat earthers who have measured it, supposedly, and they say, yeah, it does rise to the south, and that throws everything out of whack in my brain, and I can't make that fit in this reality.
Well, why would you? How could you? Yeah. There's no way you could. I mean, you're trying to establish the behavior of something that you have no clue as to what the hell it is. I think first we have to establish what that thing is before we can say, okay, now this is what the pattern is going to be, and this is
Right.
the behavior we can expect. I mean, there's some definite patterns that we've been able to produce on a daily basis, on a yearly basis, so on and so forth. But I think as to what that specific thing is and how that specific thing behaves, we have to be able to identify it first, and then we can have a better idea, a better chance of figuring out what it does and how it relates to us.
I just say they're metals. So, and that puts me well left of center, doesn't it?
Well, and I think that that's good because that puts that idea out there, because there's nobody to say that it's not. I mean, there may be the argument to be made that we don't know, but to have that out there, that means that includes that information. So when we start to look at it, if it's giving us metallic readings, it's not going to be a foreign concept. We're going to say, oh, well, you know what? We heard somebody. In fact, it was LC King over there on YouTube suggested that these were metals. So let's go back and have a look and see what he has to say about it. So I think that being able to be left of center has its place. I think it's a good that somebody says, you know what, this is what I think it is. And I think that there's nobody has the right to take that away from you, damn it.
Yeah, that's right. So, it's painted a good picture for me personally, but it's still not set in stone either. So I'm not saying, I just present concepts that I know work for us in reality and apply them, and this is what presented itself to me. So it's not really, you can't, at the end of the day, I can't say exactly what it is, but I can just show what I've done, and that's all I hope to do.
There you go. Yeah, we'll figure out as much as we can. I mean, it's always there in my head. It's one of those itches that you can't scratch. So I just ignore it as much as possible, but
So if I die and I get to heaven and the creator starts speaking to me in Scandinavian, it's going to freak me out a little bit, right? Because I'm not going to understand a single word. But I think the point is, I think the creator will speak to us in a level that we can understand. So I think that's just sort of how we all are on our process of waking up. It's the creator speaking to us in a way that we can understand. I don't expect people to get my point of view. I never have expected people to understand my point of view because so few people did. So I don't expect to understand very few other people's point of view, because that's the creator speaking to them in the language that they can understand, doing the things that they need to get through to make this process what it needs to be. So I think, again, it's everybody's got a right to their opinion, because I think that's the creator speaking to them in the language that they can understand. Not Scandinavian.
Oh, for sure. And you have to, as well be open to the creator speaking to you you have to actually do some work, lift yourself up into a different sort of paradigm to actually get a different viewpoint as well. And that's where all our little journeys are going in their separate ways, and that's where we get these different information. But it's definitely this wanting to get closer to that truth that actually opens you up to these newer concepts. And I think that's important too.
Definitely.
So we got about 10 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to bring this up. I love this. This doctor, this is from the Akron Beacon Journal. This guy, he's a retired doctor, Dr. Joe Blanda, an orthopedic physician who retired after 30 years of practice, has some advice we can all use, and it's free. As simple as it sounds, going for a hike or casual stroll and enjoying the trees and nature can help your mental and physical health. Studies have shown that to be true, said Blanda. The concept is not new. There are international and national programs that encourage nature for therapeutic healing. It strengthens your immune system, and multiple research studies show in blood samples from people who spent a certain amount of time outdoors, an increased group of cells called immune killer cells, says Blanda. I don't know what those, I've never heard of those, but you know, take it for a grain of salt. And then it says about no one knows if it helps with COVID, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, I've been saying this to people for years. Go out in nature, pay attention to nature. It's not about just being there. I mean, that helps too, but it's all about clearing your mind. It's not just about a physical well-being, it's about a mental well-being. And you have to let your body rest from all that stress and anxiety and fear and depression. You have to let that stuff go away for just, if it's just 10 minutes a day, then you get 10 minutes a day. But you have to let your body rest from that stuff. And getting out and going for a walk in nature really helps that. Our attention spans, you could be walking, all of a sudden, we're kind of like dogs, squirrel, and you see it and you get connected right there. We need that. We're supposed to have that, around us at all times. And some people don't ever get to see anything like that anymore. But yeah, get out in nature, go for a walk, pay attention to where you are and your surroundings. You'll feel better. I am not a physician, nor do I play one here on TFR. But Dr. Joe Blanda is saying this.
And if maybe you could sneak in a touch of nitrous oxide. Because I understand laughter is also pretty good for medicine. So little nature, little laughter. Who knows what kind of benefits could be had if you have a improved overall general health. Maybe being healthy will have no effect on COVID-19, but maybe being healthy might actually help prevent people from catching COVID-19. Assuming COVID-19's a
And in later news, we have gotten rid of the common cold and the flu, folks. They're gone. We will never hear of them again. We fixed it. Yeah.
Before it gets too far away and I forget it, shout out to our buddy with the cheap sunglasses, Tommy, dropping the super chat for us this morning. I see our buddy Dave, Trinity 4 in chat. I haven't seen you in a minute, friend. Glad to have you here. So come hang out with us. I see you're planning some great presentation. Can't wait to see that. Definitely. Thank you all in chat this morning. It has been great. You guys have kept me on my toes. We need John here to help me out. Without a doubt.
That's right. Shout out to Allison Briscoe.
I've got one that can see.
Because, she can see ABCs. ABCs.
Yeah, Dave, Trinity 4, you should come hang out with Lucas and I this Saturday. We will be mentioning the 369 for sure. Going over some of Tesla's tech, his actually most shared patent, most used patent, his steam generator, electric generator, I believe. Isn't that right, Lucas? What the patent was for?
It was an atmospheric one. Is that the right one you're thinking of?
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for your all show to bring up the vortex tubes.
Yeah,
we'll be going over that too.
Geek out on that. Yeah, we're going to be geeking out on that for sure Saturday. Yeah, that should be fun. But yeah, you would, if you've been getting into Tesla 369, yeah, you would love this, Dave. Yeah, it's key. Vortex is key. Just spinning. That whole spinning motion it's natural. It's how nature, something in nature is definitely operating around us at all times in this vortex motion. And when you can lock into that, you get more out of things than you put into them, because this is kind of helping it along, it seems, almost. I don't know.
Yeah, it's extremely efficient. That's the way energy wants to actually rotate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I reckon. I'm the way you talk.
Thank you, Alan Holman, line producer extraordinaire. Also dropping the super chat, a Canadian super chat on us this morning. I'm sorry.
I like the way he talks. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is good stuff.
See, where are we? We got about 4 minutes.
Well,
before
we're
we get
almost
out of here.
there. We are almost there.
I see Nemo in chat. Nemo, I didn't really try too hard. I looked on the game for about 5-10 minutes trying to figure out how to invite people to be a friend or this or that on that Origin thing for the Battlefront 2. And I don't know what I'm doing on that thing, man. So if you know how, I'm good times for all.
And then once y'all figure it out, let me know, because I'm completely lost.
But yeah, I'm not hip to the whole Origin. I don't know even if we can play, since you're on PlayStation. I don't know. But if we can, I'm same as I am on YouTube. But yeah, we're about to round this one out, folks.
Shout out Alan Holman, double Canadian super chat this morning. Thank you, Alan. I'm just giving you crap, brother. I appreciate it truly.
Nice.
Nice.
No. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Definitely come hang out with us again Friday morning. There's going to be some interesting things this week that we're trying to work on. Allison.
Yeah, Allison said she's good to go tonight.
Okay, so we're doing it this evening?
Yep, and I let Alex know as well just now.
I shared that video yesterday with Shell. She was just blown away, Alex, if you're listening. She loved it. She's encouraged and definitely going to share it with some of her coworkers and family that need to see that it can be easily done without a lot of crowd. Oh, we have a super chat war taking place in the Iron Room Media chats. This morning, that flat fellow has thrown back another pair of cheap sunglasses to counter Alan's double Canadian.
You guys are hilarious.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
I love y'all.
Why did I think it was next week? Why did I think it was the 2nd?
Wait, what happened?
February. I thought we were doing it the 2nd, next week.
No, I thought we were practicing tonight and recording it. Is that not correct? Man, apparently we need to plan some stuff off there.
We can do it whenever. I should be good tonight, I think. Dixie may not be happy because I was out last night, but it'd be cool. It'd be all right.
We'll figure it out.
Especially if we start early, because she's working at the office, so she wouldn't even be here till like 6:30 anyway. So.
What, out of left field from the rear of the pack, she comes up trying to take over the lead. Uh-oh, Liz, the Iron Maiden, drops a winky smiley face out of to counter the, but Tommy pulls ahead with a triple. This time he throws a mustache. He raised a mustache. Guys are nuts. Oh, my goodness.
Liz has got the pounds, though.
All right, I'm going to have to kill this. Every time Tommy does the super chat, this is what I think of.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's because I do a lot of sunglass wearing.
And Tommy is another person that we're trying to get on here.
Yes, that should be coming up very soon too.
Or not, maybe not here because it's early, but over there at Hemisphere with us. But definitely, we need to have you hang out, friend.
I believe he's set up for the 19th.
We do have, man, you're doing all kind of stuff, and I'm not paying attention, Zach. Thank you, friend. Wow, we did it. All right, love y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Jonathan from Jersey, for hanging out with us this morning. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Walt. Been a pleasure as always. And thank you, everybody in chat. And we shall see you right back here on Friday morning for another exciting episode of the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio. Be good, be well. We love you. Bye-bye.